Let's be honest, Islamic countries tend to not like America very much. You have Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, and even Palestine, all countries that would gleefully love to see America fail, if not outright doing everything in their power to make it happen. There's a lot of reasons for this, like, I don't know, America invading these countries for their oil and completely screwing them, or going full Karen about how they run their own countries, so yeah, that's not very surprising. The thing that really surprised me is that there is an Islamic country that's pretty chill with America, Turkey. Turkey has been so nice to America that it could walk towards an airplane and TSA won't bat an eye. I know, right? And here's the thing, Turkey is about as Islam as you could get in terms of demographics with a population that's 99% Muslim. Hell, Turkey is literally the modern-day continuation of the Ottoman Empire, one of the largest and longest ruling empires in human history, and if that doesn't scream Islam, I don't know what does. But you'd never guess that from just strolling around Istanbul. There's English letters everywhere instead of squiggly lines, women walking around unsupervised. Imagine that. The city looks European even, and people just don't do the Sharia law stuff. So, what happened? The reason why Turkey is so weird all comes down to how the Ottoman Empire died, because the death of the Ottoman Empire was too traumatizing in a sad and inconvenient way. The Ottoman Empire was always a ticking time bomb. The whole thing was built on top of an idea that seemed completely revolutionary at the time called the millet system. The Ottomans believed in Islam, yes, but they didn't try to force it on the people they conquered. While other empires in their time would go for the conform to my ways or die policy, the Ottoman Empire was actually a really chill stepdad. They were like, hey buddy, I get it, I'm not your real dad, and I wouldn't want a stranger coming into my house and bossing me around either. Their millet system meant that the conquered territories could pretty much do their own thing as long as they didn't act out and paid taxes on time. Think about it. The Ottomans expanded really quickly this way because a lot of countries didn't bother putting up much of a fight. Yeah, you could go to war against this massive empire and have your people massacred for no good reason, or you could just pay a small tax to be left alone. It was actually common for people to welcome the Ottoman Empire into their land because the tax was preferable to whatever bullshit chicanery their local warlord ruler was up to. Things were great for a while. Everybody was getting richer, the empire was growing every single day, and Europe was absolutely terrified at the seemingly unstoppable force of Islam. Unfortunately, this 400 IQ policy would snowball into devastating consequences a few hundred years later. The easiest way to explain the collapse of this mighty empire? Multiple personality disorder. To be honest, the Ottoman Empire was pretty fucked in the head from the beginning. I mean, just look at it. It's sprawled across Asia, Europe, and even Africa. There's so many different, incompatible cultures all forcibly mashed together into one. The Chinese Empire, 90% Chinese Han people. The Mughal Empire of India, different cultures and languages, yes, but they're still mostly all Hindu at the end of the day. What even is the Ottoman Empire? There's 100 different personalities all fighting for control over the main body like a horror movie, as the identity crisis gets worse and worse. As is the case with most healthy relationships, an empire needs to gaslight the fuck out of their partners into believing, no, you're glad to be with me, or else they just run away at the first chance to escape. And that very chance came in the 18th century, when the Industrial Revolution skyrocketed Europe as a torch of civilization. The Europeans got really jacked and scary after taking a bunch of steam-powered steroids. They always hated the Ottomans, were scared of them even, but now they might be strong enough to do something about it. And so they started to shove a bit. The Ottomans were like, hey man, that's not cool, and didn't even retaliate. Remember, the Ottomans never bothered to eradicate the cultural and national identity of the people they conquered. When the European countries started pushing the Ottoman Empire around, a lot of its member states started to think, hey, maybe our proud independent nation might be better off without paying for the protection of these weak Ottomans. I mean, Who among us would voluntarily pay taxes if the IRS was too weak and incompetent to do anything about it? By the end of the 19th century, half of the Ottoman Empire got snapped away. Its cash cows in strategic locations like Egypt, Greece, or the Crimean Peninsula were all gone, just like that. The Ottomans now realized that they had a problem and thought about going to therapy, but they didn't hit rock bottom yet. Leadership instead chooses to bicker with each other about the correct way to interpret the Quran so that Allah could save their empire. Their half-assed reforms only made things way worse, and they lost Levant, Mesopotamia, and the Arabian Peninsula. The once mighty Ottoman Empire was hardly an empire at this point. It's basically another failed state. Something had to be done, goddammit! But hey, there's an opportunity. Europe is marching towards World War I, and there's a 50-50 chance that they pick the winning side. Is it the Triple Entente? Triple Alliance? Fuck it! The Ottomans bet everything they have on red and watch the wheel of fortune spin. Fuck, man! They chose Germany's side. History talks a lot about how Germany got destroyed by the Treaty of Versailles after World War I. Germans were forced to pay ridiculous reparations. Hyperinflation was bad in Germany. Germans got angry, and so they voted a literal Hitler into office and started World War II. Right? But the Ottoman Empire had it way worse. You just don't hear about it because the Treaty of Severus crippled the Ottomans so badly that they never recovered and were, too weak to be relevant in World War II. The victorious Allied powers dragged the Ottoman Empire through divorce and custody court and took everything, like a spiteful, bitter ex. Whatever territory it had left, all gone. Its military? Even the capital was to be demilitarized. As a final slap in the face, the Allies had the audacity to march their own military in the Ottomans' home like a hyperzealous Child Protection Services officer and narc about everything. Now you're at rock bottom. Rock bottom can make or break a man. Does he use this opportunity to reflect, finally fix his shit, and rebound? Or does he get spattered on the ground like a frog, leaving nothing but an inconvenient mess behind? You already know how this story ends. The people of the Ottoman Empire, those who didn't or couldn't leave, bubbled with outrageous resentment after watching their proud empire get treated so unfairly, just like Germany before World War II. The public armed themselves and rose up to fight their tyrannous foreign oppressors to the death. And hey, the winners of the war were in such bad shape too that they might not have the strength to fight back. A good leader might have been able to harness the sheer willpower of his people to get shit done, but this is where the Ottoman Empire's leadership loses all chance at redemption. You see, the monarchy was committed to being a good boy for the Westerners so that they could remain in power. They officially labeled the People's Militia as rebel scum and ordered World War I hero Mustafa Kemal to quench this rebellion with the full might of the military. The Ottoman Empire was incompetent, stupid, and cowardly, choosing to punch down on its own people rather than standing up for itself. The public was completely shocked at this betrayal of the worst possible kind. Let's not forget, we're in this mess in the first place because of you and your pride and your ego. You just had to be the man. If you'd done your job, known your place, we'd all be fine right now. Kemal had enough of this shit and just joins the rebels instead of killing them. The Ottoman Empire was outraged, condemning Kemal as a traitor and sentencing him to death if he ever got caught. To make matters worse, the Western forces were also outraged at Kemal for daring to defy the consequences of losing World War I. Kemal was stuck between a rock and a hard place, forced to fight both the foreign invaders and his own government. But this mad lad somehow managed to win both battles through military genius. The Greek invaders were forced out, Mehmet VI, the last sultan of the Ottoman Empire, was dethroned, and the people were in charge. And wouldn't you know it, the Allies weren't going to do shit about it because winning the war almost bloored them out too. If only the Ottoman Empire had some goddamn courage to fight for its people instead of selling them out. Kemal officially named his new country the Republic of Turkey, a country of, for, and by the Anatolia Turks. the Ottoman Empire was nothing more than a sour memory. At this point, Kemal could pretty much do whatever he wanted. He was a goddamn hero after all, and nobody was going to stand in his way even if he didn't control the military. But that wasn't the right way to rebuild his wounded nation. He'd be no different than the power-hungry Ottomans that he fought so hard to overthrow. Kemal, led by example, stepped down from the military and became Turkey's first elected president to finally give his stagnant country a much-needed upgrade. So, Kemal asked himself, what went so horribly wrong with the Ottoman Empire? What was the single biggest problem that needs fixing right now? Islam. To guarantee a future for his people, he thought, Islam couldn't be in control of the government. After all, letting religious scholars come up with government policies was what prevented the Ottoman Empire from moving up in the world like the other Western countries. Think about it. The Ottoman Empire had the most advanced technology in the whole world at one point, being unrivaled in astronomy, medicine, engineering, architecture, and biology. Unfortunately, society thought that religious study and traditional learning were way more important than science, so the feudal, primitive Europeans could just copy their tech, upgrade it a bit, and conquer the world. The first and most ambitious change that Kemal was determined to make: separate church from state. Despite the fact that 98% of the population were Muslims, Kemal officially removed Islam as the national religion. Instead of ruling through Islamic fundamentalist Sharia law, he imported a Western justice system. To even further ease the vice grip of Islam on his country, he passed a series of reforms like banning hijabs in public places, letting women leave the house or even work, and banning polygamy. His people were free to practice their religion privately, of course, but it just can't consume a government anymore. And that, my dear viewer, is why Turkey became the most anti-Islamic country with a 99% Islamic population. So, Turkey, the literal successor of the largest Islamic empire in human history, just got rid of Islam as its core identity. Well, what even is Turkey anymore? To specifically prevent his country from falling to multiple personality disorder like the Ottoman Empire did, Mustafa Kemal united his people philosophically by getting them hooked on another drug: nationalism. They were a nation of Turks, they were all the same people, and that's what they had in common above all else: a camaraderie stronger than anything the Ottomans could ever dream of with their half-measure policies. Turkey inherited nothing other than a tiny fraction of its once endless territory, a destroyed people, and complete humiliation from the Ottoman Empire. Turkey was better, stronger, and most importantly, never going to be as tragically pathetic as the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire, once the most powerful in the entire world, made one bad decision after another and lost everything, spiraling into an undignified death. Worst of all, it betrayed its own people at the most crucial moment and hurt everyone it ever cared about. Mustafa Kemal was a national hero and served as president until his death on November 10, 1938. The Turkish parliament gave him the surname of Ataturk, which literally means daddy, or, I guess, father of the Turks if you want to get technical. But was Kemal a saint? That's arguable. We deliberately provided a heavily biased, pro-Kemal viewpoint in this video. Kemal's sweeping reforms, so valiantly against everything the Ottomans ever did wrong, had unintended consequences that still haunt Turkey to this day. What? How could this have happened? Stay tuned for the next video, where we discuss the other side, the overwhelming backlash against becoming the most anti-Islamic Islamic nation. This has been David Bradford from Knowledge Raiders, and thank you for watching.